Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 27th at 7 p.m. This is a meeting of the Marina Advisory Committee. I think we have all members here except for Sam and Ed. We'll start the meeting on the agenda with announcements, open session. Does anybody have any announcements or comments? Okay, hearing none, we will move to the minutes of March 22nd, our last meeting, and take a minute or two for people to review them.
I don't, on the garage.
Okay, does anybody need any more time? All right. Any amendments or corrections? Okay. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by Martha, thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Okay, Walter. Okay, roll call, Flip,
Aye.
Walter,
Aye.
Martha,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Will.
Aye.
Okay, Joe, I passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Harbor Master report. Mackenzie, would you please fill us in?
Sure thing. So we've been fixing some loose and broken planks on the docks. Today we're fixing some chain gear on the fuel docks. We've been entering in people's checks and taking cards, and there seems to be quite a lot of people who are still paying. We put in the fuel dock gangway and the mosquito dock gangway. We also put in 2 A-section gangways. And that's been what we've been up to so far.
Okay, any comments or questions?
When's the sea dock going in Mackenzie, if you know? The sea dock gangway.
We ended up having to build out the gangway platform. So we're hoping that we're going to remeasure it and see if the gangway will fit on it. Because due to the water level changes, we're not quite sure. So we're going to have to measure it again just to clarify. And then hopefully that'll be in the next week or two. But I can't say for sure.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you think there's going to be any new floats built this season?
At this point, I don't think so. I think that's just going to have to wait till next winter. We weren't able to get the supplies in time to build new docks. Kind of a bummer, but that's just how it went this winter.
Well, people will be upset at that because their rates are going up and the dredging has happened, but they're not going to be happy with that. I know.
I
Yeah,
will
we're
say one
prepared
thing.
for that.
It is really nice using the harbor right now.
I imagine.
I mean, I came in at low tide all the way around back.
6
How much,
feet.
how much water did you have under you, Will?
I don't know. I hit the motor all the way down and I didn't hit any mud.
Cool.
So I'm assuming probably 4 or 5 feet, if not more.
Yeah, my
Nice.
understanding is we're gonna have a whole new way of coming into the harbor though, because because you're looking up at the it's the width is what it is. You're off track. You're gonna be bumming quick.
There's one spot that didn't dredge. I found it today.
Yeah,
Yeah, I came across a little bit of mud.
I'd like to know where it is.
It's right out by the pump out dock right there. It's like one little hitch sticks out.
Good to know. Thanks, Will.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, we'll move on to Marina Concerns. I'm looking at a letter to the Marina Advisory Committee sent from Robert Cosavera, slipholder. I have been operating a powerboat in Wellfleet Harbor for over 50 years and am writing this email to express my concerns regarding the placement and/or absence of buoys in the channel from the breakwater to Shirtail Point at the end of the marina. These are my suggestions. The buoy at the breakwater should be placed in line with the breakwater out past west of the tip of the sandbar, where it has always been in the past, not inside and north of the sandbar. 2, placement of proper number of buoys in the channel from opposite the launch ramp around to the tip of Shirtail Point. This past season, most of these buoys were not there and made navigation difficult, especially for boaters not familiar with the inner harbor. I would appreciate if these recommendations were reviewed and implemented for the upcoming 2022 season. Mackenzie, do you know if there's plans to address his concerns?
I can definitely bring it up to Will and we can discuss it and get back to him about it. But at this time, no.
Okay,
I have one comment.
Walter.
Well, all the buoys up to number 16 are federal, including inside the breakwater. All the navigation buoys are federal up to number 16. So we're only responsible for the buoys from 16 around Shirtail Point. So I don't know what you can do about the federal stuff.
Well, we took that up, I believe, in the last September meeting. And at Will's request, I made a contact at the Army Corps of Engineers. And the Chief of Navigation for the New England Division confirmed that they have jurisdiction over that, but he was going to defer to Wellfleet. So he said, have your harbor master send me a simple plan of where he wants them, and I will sign off on that. And there was also a motion passed by this committee where 3 members volunteered to assist the harbor master, David, Kevin, and Flip. And also Alfred Pickard offered to donate some additional buoys needed. So that was the minutes of August 17th.
Yeah, but weren't those for the buoys marking grants?
I think
No.
so.
No,
That
was the channel, Walter.
they were navigation buoys in the channel.
I think that some of that was for Blackfish Creek.
I think
I
that's
think
for
some of it
Blackfish.
was for Blackfish.
And Old Saw, we wanted to get a buoy for Old Saw. We had talked.
Yeah,
to
there was
Alfred.
some, yeah, there was some buoys Alfred was gonna mark up by Old Saw and also Egg Island, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely need to address some more channel markers now that we have a very distinguished channel and it's very distinct. And if people are coming and going at low tide, I think it's very important that we have it marked proper. You know, for us as well as everybody coming into town that's unfamiliar with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, another part of that motion that passed was additional buoys be placed as needed, marking existing and future grants awarded, and that hazardous buoys be placed in harbor locations where there are rocks causing dangerous boating conditions. That was from the motion.
Well, traditionally
do
in
we
the
go?
spring, harbor master puts that stuff out. I mean, that's what they used to do. So hopefully they'll do it again.
Yeah, I think there was some additional stuff that we needed to add and we were trying to figure out how we were going to do that. And that was what we were going to go on you know, funding it and how the buoys were going to be placed, how they were going to be marked, what color, you know, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of stuff that we had talked about that we never really got into in terms of actual logistics.
I'm pretty sure I remember Alfred mentioning that his customers, he loses props and
Yeah.
that, you know, that was one of the reasons why he wanted to volunteer and offer the
Right.
buoys, green and red.
Right.
And I think Joe did follow up with the Coast Guard
Yeah.
pursuant to the conversation he had during that meeting. So, and I know you, Flip, myself and Kevin Coakley volunteered to help Will set those buoys in place wherever, you know, we discussed they'd be needed.
And some red and blacks on the rocks, I think was
Yep.
it's okay, you know, there's a handful of them. Not, I mean, you know, you can only do for me personally, going into Herring River, and I'm sure Will knows this, I mean, that you've got Old Salt sitting right in your face if you're coming in at any kind of tide. And it's in the channel, basically, to go in that area when the tide's a little low, because you got to avoid all the grants. Whale Rock, I mean, that thing's up most of the time off of Lieutenant Island. And then the Blackfish, distinguishing just enough area, like you said, red and green to get into Blackfish as
Yeah,
a
that's the channel way inside.
Right.
channel to, you know, this is where you go. And I think that those are really key things. And I think a lot more people are going to be out in the water at lower tides now. We have more accessibility, and it's going to get a little dicey out there over the grant areas in particular, because people are going to leave the channel with, you know, thinking, hey, I just drove out of the harbor. This is great. And then, you know, 2 feet of water over the grants and boom. So
Yeah,
I think,
then dreads the whole harbor.
yeah, we can dredge the whole harbor. So I mean, it's just I think we just have to be really proactive with that and try to address as much as we can and be as careful as we can at the same time, you know, not putting too much stuff out there, but at least guiding people in. I mean, if you go to other areas, you know, if you've got red and greens, they know what they need to do and follow the path.
Do you want this issue on the agenda for the next meeting?
I think it's something that we've talked about and we need to definitely address. Absolutely. I think it's important that we distinguish whatever we're allowed to do. I think we should try to do.
Well,
I mean, I'm all,
go ahead.
I definitely feel like marking Old Salt Rock is probably going to be a really good choice. Just because that definitely gets a lot of people. That one rock there.
That's a narrow spot right there.
Yeah, there's a big flat working off of Great Island there too that never used to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're pretty well pinched right there.
You're wicked pinched in that area.
Okay, we'll put it on the agenda and see if the harbor master still wants to accept Wellfleet Marine offer of donations and the offer of helping labor from Kevin, David, and Flip. I'll put that on the agenda.
Great.
Marina-
Joe,
Yeah,
Joe, that has to be done by like June, because once I start getting busy, I don't have any time, and I'm sure David doesn't have much time either.
Oh, and I got tons of time.
Well, you're just a pain, for Christ's sakes.
Kevin, that's all controlled by the harbor master, so.
I'm just throwing that out there, Joe.
Yeah. Well, it's a valid concern, and I think, you know, at the May meeting, that should be presented.
Well, you know, is there any way we can put this through, you know, so it can get worked on before the May meeting? You know, perhaps maybe poll us individually, or, you know, could we pass a resolution tonight that we would accept the harbor master's wishes to do this? And that we would authorize the harbor master and the 3 members of this committee that have agreed to go ahead and do it? Because otherwise we're putting stuff off another month.
Martha, that, everything you just stated is contained in that motion. It's ready to go, and the volunteers are ready to go. My suggestion would be for the 3 volunteers now, like Kevin is saying, before they get busy, to approach the harbor master now and say, we're ready to go, let's do it.
I talked to Will yesterday, just a little bit about this, and I mean, he agrees that this is things we need to do, but I don't know if we have any of the logistics of how we're going to get the buoys, where we're going to get the buoys, and all that. So that's I guess something we all definitely got to figure out.
Well, Alfred offered to donate some of them. I would suggest that the 3 volunteers see if you can work up a plan with Will and get it rolling.
Okay.
Marina Concerns. Anybody?
That was one of them.
Yeah. I'll offer one. I shared in an email with you what I spotted on the select board agenda for last night's meeting, which I attended. I think Dave and Martha were there as well.
I think Flip was there too.
Flip, yeah. And at that time, it was presented, I think new to all of us, that the town administrator was recommending that the entire cost of the fuel tank replacement be incurred by the Marina Enterprise Fund. Now, at the town meeting in April of 2019, Article 23 was passed, authorizing the town to borrow $526,280 for that project. That authorization, I learned today, is still valid. It's still on the books. My impression is that given the fact that the town is 1.3 million at least in the red, budget-wise, that this is an effort to alleviate some of that shortage and to take the money from the Marina Enterprise Fund. My thought is that would be devastating to the Enterprise Fund. Infrastructure has been deferred for years now. That is just crying out to be done. And when I was watching that meeting last night, I didn't hear Will voice his objection to the transfer of that money. So this is all new. Perhaps those who watched it can jump in and offer their thoughts.
No, I agree with you. I didn't see any kind of, pushback when it came to, that being brought up, which is concerning. The enterprise fund is there to provide funding to assist in making this harbor improvements. And if we don't have it, we're at a standstill even more. We can't allow the town to just take the money because, the financial situation is what it is. You have to protect that.
I totally agree with Dave on that.
I agree as well. I think we're in a real fine line right now, and I think that at our town meeting in June, we're going to have a really good understanding about how our financial avenue is going to go for the next year. And yeah, we got to be on our toes here.
How much money is in the enterprise fund? Anybody know?
Well, for over a year now, Sam has been working on that and finally met with the accountant. And 2 meetings ago, he requested a meeting with Will to finalize that information for everybody. And to my knowledge, that meeting has not occurred yet. But Sam is a CPA who spent years working in public finance, so he's a good resource for us to
Yeah,
to do
I know he had been working on it. Yeah.
to do a sheet and put all the pieces together, so we all know where we stand. I looked again at the Massachusetts Department of Revenue and evaluation they did in the past on the Marina Enterprise Fund, which all of us read, I think, about a year ago when I sent it out. But there's a big red flag in there, and with a strong prediction that this was going to occur, that sources of revenue had to be bolstered. They specifically named the fuel dock as a real cash cow. Now, the discussion I observed last night, the simple solution was to go up on fees. And I did not hear it stated that that we recommended and the select board passed the fee schedule that we're working on now. We're in the second year of it at 5%, and it's scheduled to go up 7% next year. And my own opinion is I don't know that that's going to be a panacea for the problem. We've got to offer something in return. We have a mooring field that has not dredged and may not very well be dredged. That's 350 potential boaters right there that are a source of revenue. So that's what I observed last night, and that's my thinking, that all of the eggs cannot be put just in the basket of the fee schedule. Your thoughts?
I would say I definitely do think the fee schedule has to continue to rise. I know we all hate to hear it, but it is relevant to potentially keeping ourselves afloat in our enterprise. We're running on empty here, and if you look at other towns on the Lower Cape, we're the cheapest place going, and we've got this we got this whole new look on life right now, and unfortunately, everybody on the planet's going to want to be here. Well, you're going to have to, we're going to have to step it up, and everybody's going to have to pay a little bit more on fees. And I think our 7% is minuscule compared to what it could be. And I think we're probably going to have to do a rate increase. And it sounds like the BOS was pretty much saying that last night. They were like, everybody was like, yeah, maybe the fees need to come up. Granted, it's not going to solve all the problems, but it will help reduce some of our, people overshadowing the pier if we do start to pitch in a bit more money. And there are a lot of repairs that need to be done. We could probably use another employee down there. There's a lot of things that need to happen. And I think rate increase at a little bit more percentage wise, I think is going to actually help benefit us at the pier. And we have to be careful about how the town looks at it and how they want to get their hands on it, obviously.
Well, that was why the enterprise fund was created in the first place, to keep the money generated by the pier at the pier.
Yeah, and for years, the town has been blessed with that operation, where unlike a lot of other towns, the marina hasn't looked to the town treasury to bolster its operation.
Joe, they did mention about how they feel like that we're sharing a bit of the costs of the town, and it's a little convoluted, it sounded like. I don't know if they're talking about maybe plowing or putting slip. I don't know what they were talking about in particular, but they were definitely saying that it's a little vague in terms of how we share our costs. So we may want to try to tighten that up a little bit as well.
Yeah.
For somebody.
Yeah,
I
I
have a
just
question.
keep coming back to looking at a $600,000 hit, you know, a one-time hit to replace those tanks. And, you know, I think that's going to be devastating. Dave, you have your hand up.
I do. A question for Mackenzie, with regards to what, you know, was just discussed. You know, do we have any idea if the town is being charged for, I mean, if the town is charging you guys for plowing and for putting the docks in and all the stuff that, you know, they're doing down there? Are you guys getting billed for that?
What do you mean by billed and charged? We're just,
Well, you know, they're providing a service to the marina, and, you know, are they going to be charging the enterprise fund for those services?
well, we plow the parking lot when it snows, so I'm not sure.
No, I'm not just that. I'm talking about all the other things they do. But they're bringing, they're putting all the gangways in. They've got cranes down there. They've got, you know, all that kind of stuff that's been moved around. I think, you know, they've done a lot of that, putting the floats in with you guys. I just don't know. I'm asking the question. Are they going to bill, or is this going to be something that they're doing, you know, out of the goodness of their heart?
Well, I don't have an answer for you. You would have to talk to Will about that.
Okay.
Now, I know they've been charging for police details and stuff like that. I mean, that's been happening, I'm pretty sure, all along.
Crash
There's
pickup.
trash pickup, all that stuff has been supposed to be, you know, shared out from us to them. But as of for the, you know, and they never were helping to do all this stuff, the DPW. They never did that a couple of years ago, till there was a regime change down there. And now they're doing a lot of stuff down there. So that's a good question, whether they're charging for that extra stuff.
Well, it seems like our TA that's in Charlie right now, it seemed like that was something they wanted to look into. So we got to, you know, we got to make sure that we're on the same page. And
Well, I believe the select board passed his recommendation last night.
Is it?
what was that, Joe? I'm sorry.
Oh, is this the new town administrator?
No,
No.
temporary.
No, this is the interim. He's here until June. This is the interim.
Oh, okay.
He presented the Marine Enterprise budget that included the $600,000 to pay for the fuel tanks. Right. Any other comments? Okay. Dredging, the information I have is mitigation discussions are ongoing. The plan is, if the permit is issued, to to dredge only half of the mooring field, the other half the following year. I don't think we're close to getting that permit, and the calendar is our enemy, because you have to, once the permit is granted, as we know from dredging last 2 years, there's an elaborate state and federal process for advertising, certain amount of time for the bidding to go out, the bids to be received, the whole thing. And we could very well be into July by then, when so many contractors have already signed contracts. So that's my knowledge at this point. I don't know if anybody else has any other knowledge about that. Marina parking, when we last met, Kevin suggested that we have an on-site meeting down there. I made the inquiry and it was denied. I was told by administration that their target is May to start doing hybrid meetings, but that's only a goal, and I have no idea as to how close they are to achieving that goal. So we can keep that on the burner, and as soon as I know, I won't wait for a meeting. I'll just we'll send out an email and get a meeting going down there.
I don't see anything happening this summer. I really don't.
No,
I don't mean to be negative Nelson, but nothing's been done. A lot of work.
I agree.
Okay, any other comments?
Just get there early, David. Park. Don't leave.
Leave
I'm
a truck
not.
there.
Bring a grill and a refrigerator.
Just
Yeah.
walk
Get that
around.
e-bike going.
Just walk up the hill, Dave. Leave your truck down there.
Yeah, I'm
Get the
gonna.
e-bike. Get the
Yeah.
e-bike.
There you go.
They have no idea what low tide's gonna look at, because you're putting all that many people in half the amount of space.
It's gonna get crazy.
I know that Bob Hussey is on. Bob, do you have any comments or questions? Well, I don't hear anything. Okay, does anybody have anything else? New business, future concerns?
I just have one question now. Do we have an official assistant harbor master wharfinger, or do we just have the regular assistant harbor masters?
Mackenzie?
I'm the full-time assistant harbor master.
You are harbor master and wharfinger. You're in charge of the physical plant of the pier.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. Just wondered.
Okay,
Now I know who to go to.
Flip?
I was just kidding. I said, now I know who to talk to.
Okay, anybody have anything else? All right, looking at the calendar, 4 weeks would be May the 25th. How does that look to everybody?
It's
Crazy.
okay for me.
Looks good so far.
Yeah,
My doctor's appointment at May 25th.
so that's okay with everybody?
Hold
Yeah.
on. I think so. I have a doctor's appointment around that time. I think my doctor's appointment's 27. So I think, yeah, it's fine.
Okay. How about a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Okay, motion made by Martha. Who seconded?
I did.
Dave.
Okay, by Dave. All right. Roll call. Flip,
Aye.
Walter,
Hi.
Martha,
Aye.
Kevin,
Hey,
Dave,
Aye.
Will,
Right.
Joe, aye. Thank you, everybody.
Right.
Thank
Goodbye.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
So,
Take it
Bye.
easy.